Hey everyone, it's Tracy Martirana here from Holistic Wellness with Tracy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to cook up these portobello mushrooms. They're like slider size. They're not huge mushrooms, but they're not little baby bellas. But you could use whatever size mushrooms you have to make stuffed mushrooms. When I decided to make stuffed mushrooms, the first thought was, what am I going to stuff them with? And I decided since Thanksgiving is right around the corner, it would be the perfect time to do a video stuffing them with stuffing. Obviously, there are other choices. You could stuff them with like a rice and tomato mixture. You could just do sauce and cheese and make it like a mushroom parmesan. You could do slices of tomato and mozzarella and basil and do like a caprese stuffed mushroom. But since most grocery stores have this type of stuff on sale right now, it's really easy to get your hands on for cheap. Or better yet, maybe it's the day after Thanksgiving and you have leftover stuffing, which makes this super easy because you can skip the whole first part of making the stuffing because that's already done. Unfortunately, it is not yet Thanksgiving while I'm filming this, so I'm going to make stuffing, stuff my mushrooms, and actually have it sort of for brunch because it's a weird time of day when I'm trying to make this video and sometimes you just have to roll with it. So come join me, let's get cooking. I'm starting by washing my mushrooms. Now, I know sometimes people will tell you you shouldn't get your mushrooms wet, that they absorb too much water, but I find that really isn't true. And I actually watched Rachel Ray do this many years ago on one of her episodes. She actually washed them with water, weighed them before and after, and showed that they really don't absorb anything. And personally, I would rather have a soggy mushroom than to bite into a chunk of dirt. But if you don't want to wash them off in the water, you can just take a wet paper towel and just use that. I'm just drying them off a little bit. And then I need to clean out, maybe get rid of the stem, maybe scoop out a little bit of the gills just to make room. You've seen me do this before on other videos. Now, you don't have to scoop out the gills, you could leave them there. I like to scoop them out just because it gives you a little more space to hold the stuffing. And the stuffing is almost the best part. Break that right off, don't even need the knife. I'm just lining a baking sheet with parchment paper. I'm going to add a little oil to these. I also just remembered I promised my husband I would save one of these out for him. So I'm just going to set this aside and do 4. I'm going to just drizzle a little bit of oil. Rub it around. Just a little bit on top. And then I'm popping them into the oven at 350 degrees while I make the stuffing. So I'm starting my stuffing off with a little bit of onion, a little celery, and a spicy pepper because I have one on hand. I plan on dicing this fairly fine, so I'm cutting thin slices. That's probably good. And then a little celery. Again, I want the pieces cut fairly small. And then the pepper, if you don't like heat, skip the pepper. It's definitely not a necessity. And if you do like heat, but you don't have a hot Hungarian pepper, use whatever kind of pepper you have. In my skillet, I'm just adding in a little olive oil, popping in my onion, celery, and spicy peppers, and I'll just let this cook until it is tender. So the onions and celery are nice and tender now. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic, 1 little clove. Stir that in. All in all, it took me probably about, I guess it was about 10 minutes, sort of low, medium heat to soften these up. And now we're going to build the stuffing right in this pan. First, I'm going to add a little seasoning of just a little salt, a little pepper. And then I have this bag of grated Parmesan. I have no idea why we bought this. We don't usually buy Parmesan pre-grated. I don't know what we were making or why we decided this would be easier, but might as well use it up. You can use as much as you want. I'm going to add a good tablespoon and a half. And then I'm using this stuffing mix. If you don't have this, you could easily just toast up a few pieces of stale bread. And this already has a bit of seasoning to it. So you don't have to add much more. I'm going to add a cup and a half. Stir that around. Now, if you were using just breadcrumbs, you would have to add a little more seasoning. I am going to add just a little bit of poultry seasoning. You could also add sage, thyme, good teaspoon. And again, we like heat, so I'm going to add a little red pepper flakes just in case that Hungarian hot pepper wasn't very hot. And just stir this around. And then the last thing, I just need to add some moisture. So you could use water, you could use veggie broth. I actually have this vegetarian, chicken broth that I'm using. You could use bouillon if you have that. And there's no real measurement here. Again, really just keep adding until it's moist, but not like dripping wet. Give it a chance to absorb some of the moisture before you add more. I'm actually going to turn the heat off. I don't want to burn it. I just want to warm it through. Let the heat help it absorb the moisture. You can see it's kind of wet and pliable, looking like stuffing. That looks pretty good. So now comes the easy part. So if it's the day after Thanksgiving and you have stuffing handy, this is where you come in with your leftover stuffing. Maybe warm it up a little bit just to lessen how long this has to be in the oven. And I'm just just stuffing them. Not really any magic to this, no tricks. And really any type of stuffing would do. I've made cornbread stuffing. If you wanted to be really quick about it, you could skip the onions and the celery and just moisten up the stuffing mix and it would taste good. I just like to add a little something to freshen it up, make it feel a little more homemade. And I'm going to leave mine just like this, but you could also top them with a little cheese if you had it. Get creative. And then, like I said, I'm using these like slider size, so I'm going to serve 2 of these to us for our meal. If I use the larger ones, I would probably only serve 1 per person. And if you use like little tiny mushrooms, it makes a great appetizer or just a snack. And there you go. I'm going to stick this in the oven just to make sure it's all heated through and the mushrooms are cooked, and then we're ready to eat. Whether you have to make up a batch of stuffing or you have some left over, I hope you will give stuffed mushrooms a try. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great day.